Welcome back into the woodwork series, the Dave's Diary series. I had you on charge, but I just had to go drag you off of charge and into the workshop. Why? Well, I needed to chop down a little bit of melamine. This bit here, in fact, using the track saw. So guess what? I've had to have a wee bit of a tidy up. But I thought I'd give a crack to the... Well, actually, no. I didn't know I was going to use or make use of the parallel arm, the long one, in the manner that I currently have. So what I did was, once I cleared enough space, I changed the links in the parallel arms from just the 100mm spacings to the 300mm spacings. And I actually just measured overall with a tape measure, so that's not, like super accurate, but I can't see any variance, nor should there be, to be fair, in the rail to rail, so inside outside sort of thing, outside inside. And that's very, very pleasing. So I thought, let's see how well the pins line up. Wow, look at that. They go in. Whoops. Am I pointing you in the right direction? Look at that. They go in. So, also, that shouldn't be surprising because it is effectively a big plate with big gaps in it. Kinda. Then I thought to myself, okay, so that's going in. I'll leave the pin in there because I wanted to keep that now as a stop so I can push my sheet up against. And I thought to myself, go get the large square and see how square it is to the track rail. After all, we've come all this way. We need to be able to rely on the bench dog positioning as well as we can. So this one square has been proved to be quite good as far as I can make the judgment of quite good. So what I did is I popped it up against the rail there. This is assuming that this is even parallel, but let's just pretend that the CNC machine that cut this, which it did, this is one of the ones that were a piece that I got from a local joiner, when they biff out the rubbish that they can't use or the waste that they can't use. I grab it, it's been cut with a CNC machine. I'm going to deduct for the meantime, it's been cut pretty well. So anyway, buttered the large square up there. I normally just touch there. Is there any? There's just the, and this is a 450, 500 wide long thing. I'd find it difficult to find a how much tolerance there is. I'd be happy with that straight away. So straight off the bat, yay! There's no gap at the bottom, and there's no discernible gap at the top of this setup. So it's telling me that I've got a fairly good fence to use the track saw with. Now, normally, what I was going to do, and I still will do, was I've got the aluminium box section, the 2040 box section that can be pinned in place with some of those nice and expensive pins, or mounting pins from Hongdui and Hooked on Wood. Have I got it there? Have I got it here? Oh, I've taken them off. Oh well. I have got a couple. I've actually got two sets, and I've just taken them off. That's okay. But it's one where you mount the rail along here, then you have to mount another rail along here if you're going to make use of it for the squareness and stop blocks and all the rest of it. So, and as I said, I'll still use it. But now that I've got the parallel arm, that means I can set this up at the drop of a hat at, instead of 300 out, I can set it up, I can't use the pins, at whatever spacings I want, right down to, well, it's just catching on those pins because I didn't take them out because they're tight. But I can now make this parallel arm move in the... I can have it coming in and out at the drop of a hat, but at this particular size or position, I can actually pin it in place and make it nice and rigid. Of course, it will have a adjustment rod in it, like the smaller version, so I can dial it into whatever it is, but really just in for coarse movement of the fence. How much should it cost me? Well, if you can say zero, it's cost me nothing, other than the pins, which I already had for other purposes. It's cost me nothing. And now I've got a multi-positioning fence square to the track saw. Hey, that's great. The other flip side of it, to be totally honest, I don't need that. I just need some pins, don't I? And I can put 2 or 3 pins in and achieve the same thing every 100 millimeters. So I'm probably being a little bit generous to myself, but hey, why not every now and then be a little bit generous to ourselves? Now, where's that pin go? Right there. But now I can push it up against something, in this case the parallel arm, and know that it's 90 degrees to the track without having to fart around with any other mechanisms. Yes, that is what MFT style tops and MFT style of tops are actually for. I know that. I'm just saying that I was quite pleased that that could work in the manner that it does. That's square, it's simple, it's cheap, and well, what more can I ask? Now, this area here is the, I want maybe, I don't need this piece. So I need to cut this piece and support it, regardless if I've got a piece on this end that needs to be supporting. Once I get out to a certain distance, I really need to be using the other end. Let me explain. It's 8 foot long, this piece here, or 2,440. Anything past here, that's if I wanted 1,300, I might as well measure it back this way. But if I wanted to come out here for whatever particular reason, I come out this way, the most I can really come out is the distance from the saw blade, which happens to be 460. So I can come out another 400, just so that I've got a little bit of weight on this side to stop it from tipping. So I can come out about 800 or so. But, and this is the thing, it was literally was one of the design features, and is how I'm going to, I'm tripping over myself now. I can pop this panel up, spin it round, dog it into place, and it is 1,200 long. It can stick out here, whatever length it's able to stick out here, and I can lock it down with those wedging bench dogs. So therefore it becomes the support for the panel. In fact, let's do that right now. While I talk, and while I've got you trapped. Okay, so I can push this out of the way. Lift this up. It's actually got quite a good fit on the holes. That one's a little bit easier. Come on. So now that I've got the panel removed, I'll just grab the pin. I can spin the piece I've just loosened up around, and in this case I'm just going to push a couple of pins into place. Hang on, I'll put this down so I'm not I haven't got horrible zoom etc for you. So that's that there. Oh boy, that's tight. Let me find one that's not quite so tight. Oh. Oh, there it is. Boy, that is tight. That isn't going anywhere. Right, did you follow all that shenanigans? No, you didn't. You're looking at the wall. God, how rude. Went to all that effort and you didn't even look at what I was doing. But I've pinned, just with the friction of the pins, that board that was going this way, which is 1220 long. Now I've got the support for the piece I'm going to cut all the way out here. Yes, I probably do need a little bit of extra support out here because it's a bit wobbly. But now, as I push my piece that needs cutting out, it's going to be able to be supported on that outrigger. It's got to be a good idea. It's not going to tip, is it? So I can come out here. I'll just pull it out a bit more. I can come out, say, that far, which just happens to be, I'll measure it. 1210. So I can come out half a sheet. It sticks out past the top, which effectively makes my workbench bigger without having to make it bigger, because we can make these outriggers, or whatever we want to call them, work for us. And once I've got the cut made, I can then pop it back off and put it back in place where it was before. So all in all, it is an approach to using an MFT top, and this is why I call it MFT style, because if you can pull the components out and use them as and when necessary, you can. 2 layers means I just spin that one there around 90 degrees and we've got that capability. I'm going to make the use of that very fact for the router base, and that's this dark piece of melamine is what I'm going to be using for that, or at least at this stage it is. I'll make probably something, well, I was going to make it 1200 long, or just cut that piece in half so that it pops out the side and the other piece can be used for something else, in the same vein. But I'm wondering whether it would be better to make the router plate, the router MFT part of the router plate mounting system, narrow, so that it's smaller, easier to store, can stick out this way, so I can still mount it like this, but have the router, so I can mount it there like I did the piece that's underneath, and mount the router just off the main part of the MFT style of top. Now that allows me to retain this without hacking into it. I think I prefer that. If I have it narrow, the maximum I can have it is about 400 without having to then start getting out the other components to drill the holes that are further inboard. But if I make it 400, which is the distance here, I can pin it in a few places. This is still wide enough to run material past, and of course I can always put other pads or plates on either side if that were to be necessary. It may be, but the router itself can sit outboard. Quite like that idea. Just thought of it as I was talking to you. So see what you do. You help me out. Literally, I repeat myself again. The Dave's Diary things are about me verbalizing something to you, and in doing so I go, oh, that's particularly stupid, or oh, that might actually work. That might be it there. So, well done. Okay, well, I'll have a bit of a fiddle and cut this probably a little bit shorter now than I've got it. So that'll work out pretty darn good. Yay. Okie doke. Very positive outcome that was, so thanks for that. Dave's diaries are working. Well, for me. Radio, that's it. I'll get to do some cutting now with the MFT and Traxor combo. Yippee! Okay, we'll see you in the next one now. Bye.